Commander Ji-won Park stood at the wide window of the Earth Defense Station Harmony. The blue planet Earth turned slowly below her. She had been watching the stars for 20 years from this station. Today felt different. Today, something big was coming. The communication alarm rang through the station. Ji-won walked quickly to the main control room. Her team was already there, looking worried. On the big screen, a strange blue light was forming. The light grew bigger and bigger until it became a shape. The shape looked like a tall person, but it was not human. "People of Earth," the alien said. Its voice was cold and hard. "I am Speaker Vorthak of the Galactic Council. We bring you an important message." Ji-won crossed her arms and waited. She had trained for this moment her whole life. First contact with aliens. But something about this felt wrong. The alien did not seem friendly. "Your species has been watched for many years," the alien continued. "The Galactic Council has decided that humans are too dangerous to remain free. You fight wars. You destroy your own planet. You cannot be trusted." The alien's image became clearer. It looked like a giant lizard standing on two legs. Its eyes were yellow and mean. Behind it, Ji-won could see the inside of a huge spaceship. "We give you 72 hours, the alien said. "You will surrender your planet to our protection. You will accept our control. If you refuse, we will destroy your world completely. This is not a choice. This is a warning." The image disappeared. The control room was quiet for a long moment. Then everyone started talking at once. Some people were scared. Others were angry. But Ji-won noticed something strange. She was smiling. Dr. Yun-woo Kim walked into the control room. He was Earth's best expert on alien life. Everyone expected him to look worried. Instead, he was also smiling. Not a happy smile, but a knowing smile. "Did you hear all of that?" Ji-won asked him. "Every word," Yun-woo said. "How interesting. They think we are dangerous primitives who need their protection." "Are you not worried?" asked Lieutenant Yuna Cho. She was young and had never expected to see aliens during her service. Yun-woo looked at the screen where the alien had been. "No," he said. "I am not worried at all. In fact, I think this is wonderful news." Ji-won nodded. She pressed a button on her control panel. A secret communication channel opened. Only a few people on Earth knew this channel existed. "This is Harmony Station," she said into the microphone. "Operation Homecoming is now active. All deep space assets return to the Sol system immediately. Priority Alpha." Across the station, more people started smiling. Not scared smiles, but confident smiles. The kind of smile a person makes when they know a secret that others do not know. Captain Minho Lee was working in the deep space monitoring room. This room tracked all the ships and signals far from Earth. When he heard Ji-won's message, he laughed out loud. "Finally," he said. "It is about time." Minho opened a special file on his computer. The file was called Children Coming Home. Inside were lists of names, ship numbers, and coordinates. He began sending coded messages to places very far from Earth, places the aliens did not know about. Meanwhile, in a secret underground base, Admiral Suji Choi was reading reports. The base was hidden under a mountain. No one could see it from space. No satellites could find it. It had been built 50 years ago for a day like this. The reports on her desk had titles like Project Wanderer Status and Deep Echo Fleet Positions. These were not normal military reports. These were files about humans who had been living in space for many years, humans that Earth was supposed to not have. Suji's assistant, Colonel Daeho Kwan, walked into her office. He looked excited. "Admiral, we just received the homecoming signal," he said. "Good," Suji replied. "How long until all our children can come home?" "The closest ones can be here in 18 hours. The farthest ones need 3 days." Suji stood. up and walked to a map on the wall. It showed the galaxy. There were red dots scattered across hundreds of star systems. Each red dot represented something the aliens did not know about. "Contact Dr. Yoon," Suji said. "Tell her it is time to lift the veil." Far above Earth, the alien fleet was approaching. 10,000 warships of different sizes moved through space toward the small blue planet. Admiral Zelthak commanded the fleet from his flagship. He was confident. Humans were primitives. They had only just learned to travel between stars. They had no real weapons. This would be easy. "How long until we reach their planet?" Zelthak asked his navigator. 48 hours, Admiral," the navigator replied. "Perfect. That gives them time to think about surrender. I want to monitor their communications. Let me hear how scared they are." The alien communication officers began listening to Earth's radio signals. They heard news reports about the alien ultimatum. They heard government meetings about surrender plans. They heard people crying and praying. Everything sounded exactly as Zelthak expected. What the aliens did not hear were the secret messages. They did not know about the special codes. They could not detect the hidden communications that were traveling to distant star systems. On Earth, the news showed panic. In the streets, world leaders called emergency meetings. The United Nations held crisis sessions. Everything looked like a planet that was not ready for war. But in the secret bases, in the hidden rooms, in the places aliens could not see, humans were preparing something very different. They were not preparing to surrender. They were preparing to reveal a truth that would change everything. Dr. Hyun-woo Kim met with a small group of scientists and military officers. They sat in a room deep under the ocean. The room had no windows and no connections to the surface. It was completely invisible. "The aliens made one big mistake," Hyun-woo told the group. "They assumed we are what we appear to be." "How long have we been waiting for this moment?" asked Dr. Sujin Yu. 200 years, Hyun-woo replied. 200 years of hiding. 200 years of pretending to be simple. 200 years of letting them think they understand us. Outside the secret room, Earth continued to look like a world in panic. The aliens continued to approach, confident in their power. But something was changing. In the darkness of space, ships were moving. Ships that were not supposed to exist were changing course and heading home. The 72-hour countdown had begun. But the aliens did not know they were not counting down to Earth's surrender. They were counting down to the moment when humanity would finally stop pretending. And all across Earth, in secret places and hidden rooms, humans continued to smile. That same knowing smile. The smile of people who had been waiting a very long time for this day to finally come. Dr. Yoon-ha-yoon sat in her private study, looking at old photographs. The pictures showed Earth as it was 200 years ago. Back then, humans had just discovered that they were not alone in the universe. Back then, everything changed. The door opened and her assistant brought her tea. The assistant was young and did not know the full truth yet. Most humans did not know the full truth. It was better that way. "Dr. Yoon," the assistant said, "the aliens are still approaching. Should I prepare the evacuation files?" Yoon-ha smiled. "No evacuation will be necessary, but please bring me the Project Mirror files, all of them." When the assistant left, Yoon-ha opened the first file. It was marked, "The Great Decision, Year 2157. Inside were meeting notes from the day that changed human history, the day they decided to hide. 200 years ago, human scientists had detected alien radio signals. They realized the galaxy was full of intelligent species, but these species were not friendly. They fought wars. They conquered weaker races. They destroyed planets that would not submit. The human leaders at that time made a smart choice. Instead of announcing themselves to the galaxy, they would hide. They would make Earth look like a simple world with primitive people. Meanwhile, they would secretly spread humans across the stars. Yuna remembered her great-grandmother's stories about those early days, how the best and brightest humans had volunteered to leave Earth forever, how they had built secret ships and found empty planets to colonize, how they had learned to disguise themselves as aliens. The plan was called Project Wanderer. For 200 years, humans had been living on alien worlds. They looked like aliens. They talked like aliens. They acted like aliens, but they were always human inside. Across the galaxy, on a planet called Vorthax Prime, Agent Nara Bayek was preparing for the most important day of her life. She had lived on this planet for 40 years. Everyone thought she was a Vorthak advisor, named Zelinda. Even her closest friends did not know she was human. Nara's real job was to watch and learn. She studied alien technology. She learned their military secrets. She sent reports back to Earth using secret codes. She was one of thousands of human spies living throughout the galaxy. Today, she would finally reveal herself. Today, the hiding would end. Nara walked to her office in the Vorthak military headquarters. As usual, alien officers nodded respectfully to her. They trusted her completely. They had no idea she was their enemy. In her office, Nara opened her computer and accessed the Vorthak fleet database. She knew all their ship positions. She knew their weapon capabilities. She knew their battle plans. This information had been flowing back to Earth for decades. Meanwhile, on a trading station near the Galactic Center, Captain Yubin Lim was finishing her morning routine. For 30 years, she had been pretending to be a Grethak merchant. The Grethak were a peaceful species that traveled between star systems selling goods. Yubin's fake identity was perfect. She spoke Grethak language fluently. She knew their customs. She even had artificial skin that made her look exactly like them. Other aliens saw a typical Grethak trader. They never suspected she was human. But Yubin was not really a merchant. She was a military intelligence officer. Her job was to track alien ship movements and report back to Earth. She also secretly recruited other humans who were living in disguise throughout this part of the galaxy. Dr. Wanho Kang was working in his laboratory on the planet Sirius B4. For 25 years, he had been living as a million scientist named Tofek. The millions were known for being very smart, so it was easy for a human to fit in among them. Wanho's laboratory was actually a secret human research facility. He studied alien technology and found ways to improve it. His discoveries had helped Earth develop weapons and defenses that were far better than anything the aliens had. The aliens thought Wanho was helping them build better computers. They did not know he was building systems that could be shut down, with secret codes. When the time came, half the galaxy's technology would stop working with a single command from Earth. Back on Earth, engineer Jinwoo Seo was reviewing reports from all the hidden human colonies. The numbers were incredible. Over 500 billion humans were living throughout the galaxy. They had colonies in 2,000 star systems. They had been quietly building an empire while pretending to be other species. The children are ready to come home, Jinwoo told his team. All colonies report full readiness. The human colonies were not primitive settlements. They were advanced civilizations with technology that made alien equipment look ancient. While Earth pretended to be struggling with basic space travel, the colonies had developed faster-than-light communication, matter manipulation, and weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Commander Taeyang Jung was stationed on a hidden base in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The base looked like a mining operation from the outside, but inside, it was a massive military command center. Taeyang was responsible for Project Mirror. This was the plan to reveal all hidden humans simultaneously. When he gave the signal, every human spy throughout the galaxy would drop their disguise at the same time. The aliens would suddenly realize that humans were everywhere. "Sir," his communication officer said, "we are receiving homecoming confirmations from all sectors. The children are ready." Taeyang nodded. "How many assets do we have in position?" "Over 3,000 infiltration agents in key positions, 50,000 combat operatives standing by." 200 hidden fleets ready for deployment. The alien fleet continued moving toward Earth. Admiral Zelthak was reading reports from his scouts. Earth's defenses looked pathetic. A few orbital stations, some primitive missiles, basic energy shields, nothing that could stop a real military force. These humans are even weaker than we thought, Zelthak told his officers. This will not even be a battle. It will be a simple cleanup operation. What Zelthak did not know was that everything he saw was fake. The primitive human defenses were elaborate illusions. The real Earth defenses were hidden and far more powerful than anything in his fleet. Dr. Hyun-Woo Kim was meeting with historians in a secure facility under the Pacific Ocean. They were preparing the truth files. When the aliens were defeated, humans would need to explain how they had built a secret galactic civilization. The aliens will want to know how we did it, Dr. Kim said. We need to show them that humans are not the primitives they think we are. The historians had documented everything, every colony, every spy, every technological advance. Every time humans had secretly prevented a galactic war. Every time they had saved an alien species from extinction without taking credit. We have been the galaxy's guardians for 2 centuries, said historian Danby O. We stopped 17 major wars. We prevented 8 genocides. We saved 47 species from extinction. And we did it all while pretending to be a single-planet primitive civilization. The truth was impressive. While the aliens had been fighting each other and conquering weaker species, humans had been quietly making the galaxy a better place. They had done it in secret because they knew the aliens would not accept help from primitives. As the 72-hour deadline approached, secret messages continued flowing between Earth and the hidden human colonies. The children were coming home. Ships that had been hidden for decades were powering up their engines. Weapons that aliens did not know existed were being prepared. Dr. Yoon-ha Yoon closed her files and stood up. Outside her window, she could see the lights of the city. People were going about their normal lives. Most of them still did not know what was really happening. Soon, the whole galaxy would know the truth. Soon, the aliens would realize that their easy victory was actually the biggest trap in galactic history. Soon, humanity would finally stop hiding and show the universe what they had really become. The countdown continued, but it was not counting down to Earth's surrender. It was counting down to the moment when the children would finally come home. Admiral Zelthak looked at his battle screens with satisfaction. The alien fleet had reached Earth's outer defenses. Just as expected, the humans had put up a few orbital platforms and some basic weapons. Nothing impressive. Nothing that could stop his massive fleet. Begin the attack, Zelthak commanded. Target their largest cities first. When they see their homes burning, they will surrender quickly. The alien warships opened fire. Bright energy beams shot toward Earth. The human orbital platforms tried to fight back, but they were clearly outmatched. One by one, the human defenses began to fail. On Earth's surface, the major cities looked like they were taking heavy damage. News cameras showed explosions in New York, London, Tokyo, and Seoul. People were running in panic. Buildings were collapsing. Everything looked exactly as Zelthak expected. Humans are so weak, laughed Commander Thek, Zelthak's second-in-command. Their weapons are like toys compared to ours. But in her underground command center, Admiral Suji Choi was watching something very different on her screens. The explosions. In the cities were just light shows. The collapsed buildings were holographic projections. The real cities had been moved deep underground decades ago, protected by shields the aliens could not even detect. The aliens are shooting at empty air, Suji told her staff. How long should we let them waste their ammunition? Colonel Daeho Kwan checked his chronometer. Intelligence suggests we should wait until they feel completely confident. Another hour should do it. Meanwhile, throughout the galaxy, something extraordinary was happening. On every world where humans had been living in disguise, they were suddenly revealing their true identities. On Vorthax Prime, Agent Nara Bayek walked into the military command center where she had worked for 40 years. Her alien colleagues greeted her normally, still thinking she was their trusted advisor, Zelinda. "Good morning, Zelinda," said General Krutak. "The Earth attack is going well. Those primitive humans are no match for our fleet." Nara smiled. "Actually, General, there is something you need to know." She pressed a button on her control panel. Her artificial alien skin began to dissolve, revealing her true human appearance underneath. The aliens in the room stared in shock. Their trusted advisor, the person who had helped plan this attack, was human. "My name is Nara Bayek," she said calmly. "I am an agent of Earth intelligence. I have been watching you for 40 years. Before the aliens could react, Nara activated a special code on the command center's main computer. Suddenly, half of the Vorthak home fleet shut down. Their engines stopped working. Their weapons went offline. Their shields collapsed. "What did you do?" General Krutak demanded. "I installed some upgrades in your systems over the years," Nara replied. "You never noticed because you trusted me completely." The same scene was happening on hundreds of worlds. Human agents who had lived as aliens for decades were revealing themselves and taking control of key facilities. In minutes, the aliens lost control of major military bases, communication networks, and defensive systems throughout the galaxy. Captain Yubin Lim stood up in the middle of the Grethak Trading Council meeting. For 30 years, she had attended these meetings disguised as a merchant. Today, she dropped her disguise and showed her human face. "I am Captain Yubin Lim of the Earth Colonial Fleet," she announced. "This trading station is now under human protection." The Grethak representatives were too shocked to move. They watched as Yubin activated a control device. Suddenly, dozens of other traders throughout the station also revealed themselves as humans. The entire station had been infiltrated. For decades, Dr. Wonho Kang walked into the Million Science Council and made a similar announcement. "My name is Dr. Wonho Kang. The research projects you thought you were funding have actually been building Earth's defense network." He showed them how their own computers contained hidden programs that gave humans access to all Million technology. Every scientific discovery the Millions had made in the past 25 years had immediately been shared with Earth. Back in Earth's solar system, Admiral Zelthak was feeling very confident. His fleet had been bombarding Earth for 2 hours. The human defenses were nearly destroyed. Soon, he would demand surrender, and the humans would have no choice but to accept. Then his communication officer received an urgent message from Vorthax Prime. "Admiral," the officer said nervously, "we are receiving strange reports from home, something about human agents revealing themselves." "That is impossible," Zelthak replied. "Humans are a single-planet species. They have no agents anywhere." Before the communication officer could respond, every screen on Zelthak's flagship began, showing the same image. Admiral Suji Choi appeared on the screens, sitting calmly in her command center. "Greetings, Admiral Zelthak," Suji said. "Thank you for finally showing your true intentions. Humanity's children have been waiting so long to come home." Zelthak stared at the screen in confusion. "What are you talking about, human?" "Allow me to explain," Suji replied. "For 200 years, my people have been living throughout your galaxy. You knew them as Grethak traders, Million scientists, Vorthak advisors, and dozens of other species. They were all human." As she spoke, reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Human agents were revealing themselves everywhere. Military bases were falling under human control. Defense networks were shutting down. Entire alien fleets were surrendering without firing. "A shot. This is impossible," Zelthak said. "Our intelligence reports show humans have never left their home system." "Your intelligence reports were written by my agents," Suji replied with a smile. "The same agents who have been guiding your military strategy for decades." Commander Jiho Nam appeared on Zelthak's bridge. He had been serving as the alien fleet's navigation officer for 5 years. Now he revealed his true human appearance. Surprise, Admiral, Jiho said. I have been feeding your fleet false information about Earth's defenses. Those cities you have been bombing are just holograms. Zelthak looked around his bridge in panic. How many of his officers were actually human spies? How long had his fleet been compromised? Sir, his sensor operator called out, we are detecting massive energy signatures appearing throughout the solar system. On the main screen, space itself seemed to bend and twist. Huge ships began appearing from nowhere. These were not the primitive human vessels Zelthak expected. These were sleek warships that looked more advanced than anything in his fleet. The human ships had been hiding using technology the aliens did not know existed. Cloaking systems that made them invisible, shield generators that bent light around them, weapons that could destroy entire fleets with a single shot. Admiral, his tactical officer said in a shaking voice, sensors show over 50,000 human warships surrounding our position. Their energy readings are far beyond our capabilities. Commander Taeyang Zheng's voice came over the communication system. Attention, alien fleet. This is Commander Zheng of the Earth Home Defense Force. You are completely surrounded. Power down your weapons and prepare to receive boarding parties. Zelthak looked at his tactical display. Red dots surrounded his fleet from every direction. He had brought 10,000 ships to conquer a primitive planet. The humans had 50,000 advanced warships waiting for him. How is this possible? Zelthak whispered. Simple, replied Admiral Suji Choi from her command center. While you spent 2 centuries fighting wars and conquering primitives, we spent 2 centuries building, learning, and preparing. We became the shepherds while you remained the wolves. The alien fleet was completely trapped. They could not run. They could not fight. They could only watch as human boarding shuttles approached their ships. But the humans did not come as conquerors. They came as teachers. The first thing they did was provide medical help to any aliens who had been injured. The second thing they did was explain how the galaxy was about to change forever. We do not want to destroy you, Suji told Zelthak. We want to show you a better way to live. The age of galactic war is over. The age of cooperation has begun. All across the galaxy, alien civilizations were learning the same lesson. The primitive humans they had tried to conquer were actually their superiors in every way, not just in technology and military power, but in wisdom and moral development. The trap had been sprung. The children had come home, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Fleet Admiral Heian Park stood in the command center of the massive human battleship Unity. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of human forces throughout the galaxy. The operation was going perfectly. In less than 12 hours, humans had taken control of every major alien military installation. Report, Admiral Park commanded. Captain Seojin Lee stepped forward. All primary objectives secured, Admiral. We have captured over 2,000 alien warships intact. Minimal casualties on both sides. The Vorthak home fleet has surrendered completely. What about civilian populations? All alien civilian areas are under protection. Our medical teams are already treating wounded aliens. Food and water supplies have been secured for all captured personnel. Admiral Park nodded with satisfaction. This was exactly how the operation was supposed to work. Overwhelming force, but minimal harm. The humans had spent 2 centuries planning this moment, and they wanted it to be perfect. On the bridge of the captured Vorthak flagship, Admiral Zelthak sat in a comfortable chair staring at his new human guards. He expected to be treated as a prisoner of war. Instead, the humans had brought him medical attention, good food, and access to communication with his family. Dr. Hyun-woo Kim entered the bridge. Zelthak recognized him from the first contact message days ago. But now the human looked different, more confident, more powerful. Admiral Zelthak, Dr. Kim said politely. I hope you are comfortable. We need to have an important conversation. Are you here to demand our surrender? Zelthak asked. No, Doctor, Kim replied. We already have your surrender. I am here to give you a history lesson. Dr. Kim activated a holographic projector. Images began appearing in the air above them. Images of the galaxy as it was 200 years ago. When humans first detected alien signals, we faced a choice, Kim explained. We could announce ourselves and join your galactic community, or we could study you first. The hologram showed recordings of alien communications from centuries past. Wars between species, planets being conquered, entire civilizations being destroyed. We chose to study you, Dr. Kim continued. What we found was not encouraging. Your species, along with most others in the galaxy, seemed to solve problems through violence. You took resources by force. You treated weaker species as slaves. Zelthak watched the images with growing discomfort. He recognized many of the battles shown. His own species had participated in several of them. But we also found something else, Dr. Kim said. The hologram changed to show different scenes. Humans working secretly to prevent disasters. Human agents stopping wars before they could start. Human colonies sharing food with starving alien populations. We found that we could help, Dr. Kim explained. So we did. For 2 centuries, humans have been the galaxy's secret guardians. Captain Seojin Lee appeared on screen from another captured ship. She was interviewing a group of million scientists who had just learned that their colleague Dr. Wonho Kang was human. Dr. Kang saved our entire species from the Red Death Plague, one of the millions was saying. We thought it was just good luck that he discovered the cure so quickly. Now we know he had access to human medical knowledge. The hologram switched to show Agent Nara Bayek talking with Vorthak military officers. They were learning that many of their greatest strategic victories had been planned by a human who was protecting them from even worse enemies. The Krelton invasion fleet, one Vorthak general said in amazement. You told us exactly where to position our forces. Without your advice, they would have destroyed our home world. It was my job to protect your people, Nara replied simply, even when you did not know you needed protection. Dr. Kim turned back to Admiral Zelthak. Do you understand what you are seeing? Zelthak was quiet for a long moment. Your people have been helping us. All this time, you were helping us. 47 alien species saved from extinction. 23 galactic wars prevented. 8 cosmic disasters diverted. All done quietly, without taking credit. The hologram showed more examples. Human engineers secretly reinforcing alien space stations before asteroid impacts. Human doctors arriving at plague sites disguised as local medical teams. Human diplomats working behind the scenes to prevent wars. Why? Zelthak asked. Why help species that you knew would attack you if they discovered the truth? Because it was the right thing to do, Dr. Kim answered. Because we had the power to help. And with power comes responsibility. Meanwhile, in the detention areas of human ships throughout the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. Alien military officers were learning that their trusted advisors had been humans all along. But instead of feeling betrayed, many were feeling grateful. Commander Ji-Ho Nam was talking with a group of alien pilots he had served with for years. You saved my life in the Battle of Proxima 7, one pilot said. When my ship was damaged, you stayed behind to help me escape. I stayed because you are my friend, Ji-Ho replied. Being undercover does not change that. The aliens were struggling to understand. They had expected humans to be cruel conquerors. Instead, they found themselves being treated better as prisoners than they had ever been treated by their own governments. Historian Danby O was preparing the full documentation for presentation to the reformed Galactic Council. The record showed everything humans had done in secret over the past 2 centuries. The aliens need to see the complete picture, Danby told her team. They need to understand that we are not conquerors, we are gardeners. Gardeners? Asked her assistant. We planted seeds of peace throughout the galaxy. We watered them with secret kindness. We protected them from those who would destroy them. Now it is time for the harvest. On Earth, The world leaders who had been planning surrender negotiations were finally learning the truth about their own planet's capabilities. President Maria Santos sat in stunned silence as Admiral Suji Choi explained the real situation. "You mean we have been a galactic superpower for 2 centuries?" President Santos asked. "The most powerful civilization in the galaxy," Admiral Choi confirmed. "We just chose to use that power responsibly." "Why was I not told?" "Because the secret was too important." The fewer people who knew, the safer everyone was. Your genuine surprise at the alien ultimatum helped sell the illusion. Back on the captured alien ships, the education process continued. Dr. Wanho Kang was explaining human technology to amazed alien scientists. "Your computers, your weapons, your medical equipment," he said. "We improved all of them over the years. You thought you were making scientific breakthroughs. Really, you were learning from us." "But why share your technology secretly?" asked a confused million researcher. "Why not take credit?" "Because you would not have accepted help from primitives," Dr. Wanho replied. "Your pride would have made you reject our gifts. So we let you think the discoveries were your own." The psychological warfare was working perfectly. The aliens were not being crushed or humiliated. They were being enlightened. They were learning that humanity had already transcended the need for conquest and domination. Admiral Zelthak was beginning to understand the magnitude of what had happened. "Your entire species," he said slowly, "evolved beyond what we are." "Not evolved," Dr. Kim corrected. "We chose to grow. We chose to become better. We chose to use our strength to protect instead of to conquer." "How do we learn to do the same, Doctor?" Kim smiled. "That is exactly the right question to ask, and we are here to teach you." Throughout the galaxy, the same realization was spreading among the alien populations. The dangerous primitives they had tried to conquer were actually their moral superiors. The species they had planned to enslave were the ones who had been secretly protecting them for centuries. The lesson was clear. True strength was not the ability to destroy, but the wisdom to choose not to. True power was not ruling others, but helping them become better versions of themselves. And humanity had been demonstrating both for 200 years, waiting patiently for the day when they could finally teach the rest of the galaxy what they had learned. Ambassador Jia Moon walked through the halls of the New Geneva complex on Earth. 6 months had passed since the day the galaxy learned the truth about humanity. The complex was bustling with activity as representatives from hundreds of alien species worked together on projects that would have been impossible before. The building itself was a symbol of the new age. Human architecture blended with alien designs. Vorthak crystal technology combined with million computing systems. Grethak artistic patterns decorated walls alongside human paintings. Everything worked together in harmony. "Ambassador Moon," called a familiar voice. Jia turned to see former Admiral Zelthak approaching. He looked very different now. Instead of a military uniform, he wore the simple robes of a student. His face had lost the hardness of a warrior and gained the curiosity of a learner. "Good. Morning, Zelthak," Jia replied with a warm smile. "How are your philosophy studies going?" "Difficult, but rewarding," Zelthak answered. "Teacher Kyung-ho Sim is helping me understand concepts I never imagined before. Today we discussed the difference between strength and power." Jia nodded. Teacher Kyung-ho Sim had become one of the most respected educators in the new galactic civilization. His classes on human philosophy were always full of former military officers from dozens of species, all trying to understand how to transform their aggressive instincts into protective ones. "I wanted to thank you again," Zelthak continued. 6 months ago I came to destroy your world. Now I cannot imagine a universe without human guidance." "You don't need to thank us," Jia replied. "You chose to learn. That choice was yours alone." In another part of the complex, Dr. Yoon-ha Yoon was meeting with a team of scientists from 12 different species. They were working on Project Renaissance, the plan to share advanced human technology with the entire galaxy. The immortality treatments are ready for mass production, reported Dr. Silak, a million researcher who had become one of Dr. Yoon's closest collaborators. We can begin offering them to all species within 3 months. Dr. Yoon reviewed the data on her screen. The technology could extend the lifespan of any species by thousands of years. It had been a human secret for over a century. Now it would be available to everyone. What about consciousness transfer? Asked Dr. Vorthek, a former Vorthak military scientist who now worked in human labs. Ready for testing, Dr. Yoon replied. With this technology, death becomes a choice rather than an inevitable end. The aliens in the room looked amazed. These technologies seemed like magic to them. But for humans, they were just tools to make life better for everyone in the galaxy. Why share all of this so freely? Dr. Silak asked. Your people could have kept these advantages for yourselves. Because advantages are only valuable when everyone can benefit from them, Dr. Yoon explained. A galaxy where only humans live forever would not be a better galaxy. A galaxy where everyone can choose their own lifespan is paradise. Meanwhile, engineer Jinwoo Seo was showing a group of alien engineers through one of Earth's matter manipulation facilities. The technology could create any object from basic atomic materials. Food, tools, even entire buildings could be constructed in minutes. This machine, Jinwoo explained, can solve hunger throughout the galaxy. No species ever needs to go without food again. The engineers stared at the device in wonder. Wars had been fought over resources that this machine could create endlessly. How long have humans had this technology? Asked Engineer Thalax, a Grethak who specialized in resource distribution. About 80 years, Jinwoo replied casually. We were waiting for the right time to share it. 80 years? Thalax was shocked. During that time, 17 worlds suffered from famine. Millions died from hunger. Jinwoo's expression became serious. We know. We secretly provided aid to those worlds. But we could not reveal the technology without revealing ourselves. The galaxy was not ready. And now it is ready? Now you understand that abundance should be shared, not hoarded. Now you can be trusted, with tools that could change everything. In the education wing of the complex, Captain Minho Lee was teaching a class on galactic history. His students were young beings from dozens of species, all learning together about their shared past and future. Can anyone tell me about the Krelton Wars? Captain Lee asked. A young Vorthak raised her hand. The history books say we won because of superior strategy. The real history books say you won because human agents fed your generals the enemy fleet. Positions, Captain Lee corrected gently. We helped you win because the alternative was the extinction of your species. A young Million student looked confused. Why didn't you just defeat the Kreltons yourselves? Because then you would not have learned that you could win. You needed to discover your own strength. We just made sure you had the chance to do it. The students began to understand. Humans had not just been protecting alien species from external threats. They had been protecting them from self-doubt and despair. They had given them victories to build confidence, then stepped back to let them grow. Dr. Hyunwoo Kim walked through the bustling streets of New Geneva, watching the daily miracle of integrated galactic civilization. Vorthak children played games with human kids. Million artists collaborated with Grethak musicians. Former enemies had become friends, then family. At a street cafe, he sat down with a cup of coffee and opened his tablet to read the morning reports. Construction had begun on 15 new integrated cities throughout the galaxy. The first interspecies university would open next year. Crime rates had dropped to nearly zero on most worlds. Dr. Kim, a small voice interrupted his reading. He looked up to see a young Grethak girl holding her human friend's hand. "Yes, child? My teacher says you helped plan the Great Revelation. The day when everyone learned the truth. I helped a little," Dr. Kim replied with a smile. "Were you scared when you had to tell everyone the secret?" Dr. Kim thought about that day 6 months ago, the moment when humanity dropped all disguises and revealed themselves to the galaxy. It had been the most important moment in galactic history. "No," he said finally. "I was not scared. I was excited. We had been waiting so long to finally meet everyone honestly." The little girl smiled and ran off with her friend. Dr. Kim watched them go, thinking about how natural it seemed now for children of different species to play together. 6 months ago, such a sight would have been impossible. His tablet chimed with a priority message. Dr. Kim read it, and his smile grew wider. Admiral Suji Choi was requesting a meeting. The message was marked Operation Far Shore, Phase 1 authorization. Dr. Kim finished his coffee and walked quickly back to the complex. In Admiral Choi's office, he found her studying star charts of regions beyond the galaxy. "The deep space monitoring stations have detected signals," Admiral Choi explained. "Intelligence suggests we are not alone in this universe. There are other galaxies with their own civilizations." "Hostile?" Dr. Kim asked. "Unknown, but our analysis suggests they may be facing the same problems our galaxy had 6 months ago. Wars, conflicts, species destroying each other." Dr. Kim studied the star charts. "So we have neighbors who might need help." "That is my assessment," Admiral Choi replied. "The question is, are we ready to expand our gardening to other galaxies?" Dr. Kim looked out the window at the peaceful streets of New Geneva. Beings from hundreds of species worked together, learned together, lived together. The galaxy had become paradise in just 6 months of human guidance. "The children are growing." "Up well?" he said. "I think they are ready to help us tend a larger garden." Admiral Choi activated her communication system and sent a message to the deep space exploration fleets. "Operation Far Shore is authorized. Begin reconnaissance of neighboring galaxies. Priority: identify civilizations in need of assistance." As the message traveled to human ships positioned at the edge of the galaxy. Both humans smiled the same knowing smile they had shared 6 months ago. The smile of people who understood that with great power comes the opportunity to make the universe a better place. The galaxy had learned its lesson about humanity. Now it was time to teach that lesson to the rest of the universe. The age of secret protection was over. The age of open cooperation had begun, and somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, human ships began their engines and headed toward new worlds that did not yet know they were about to be saved.